Which is why having a purpose is so important. Not all money is good money. Not all opportunities are good opportunities. So something that might appear to be good, you have to be able to discern and inspect. And if you're not set up on a strong foundation, if you don't know your purpose, somebody could say, oh, I got $1 billion for you right now. $1 billion? Oh my gosh. But if you're not in alignment with what the purpose and the calling is on my life, then I know that that's a distraction.
I have always been fascinated by powerful women who are working behind the scene and making things happen. Strategy, thinking, collaboration, leadership. And today, I have Kelani Blackwell in my studio. The way she thinks and acts and run the business is very fascinating. Kelani, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Wow. Okay. All right. I didn't deserve that introduction. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Oh my God. I am so happy you came all the way from Dallas and be in the studio. Yeah. But I'm always be fascinated with the level you operate and think and your story. When did you start it? How did you start your journey? Let's tell the audience a little bit story about you, and then we get into the business. And
oh man, so before business.
Yep, okay. Before business. Man.
So that's a good question. Thank you for that, and thank you for having me on the show.
Pleasure.
I'm super excited to be here. So my story, it's a little interesting. I'm originally from Columbus, Ohio. I grew up an athlete. I grew up with every opportunity really that my parents wished that they had. They made sure I had it. Both of my parents are first generation get it out the mud. They're first generation cycle and curse breakers, right? They both came from very difficult childhoods and upbringings. And I'm super lucky that I have two parents that prioritized my life and my opportunities and making sure that my childhood was nothing like theirs. So shout out to mom and dad. And so that being said, growing up, I was pushed very, very much because of that to be great. And it was a very, excellence was a value that was very much relevant in my household. And so I grew up that way. I just grew up with that mindset. And it took me a while. Wasn't until I was later in my 20s where I really understood my purpose. Not even my purpose. I wouldn't even say I understood my purpose in my 20s. I understood hard work in my 20s. I definitely understood that I was different in my 20s.
In which way?
Oh, a lot of ways. So I remember being young, growing up in Columbus, Ohio. I'm biracial. My dad is Black, my mother is Samoan, and both are mixed with white on both sides. And so I remember, I went to an inner city school. I was too light skinned to be Black, too Black to be white. And so, struggled with that a little bit and just finding my space. And so growing up in sports, it really, really helped me. So I moved from Ohio to Southern California when I was in high school. And I ended up going from inner city school to a suburban school, basically an all white school.
Big change.
Yeah. And I got kicked out of school on the second day for fighting a football player who called me the N-word.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it happened. Not proud of that moment. There are better ways to handle things. But that was I think a really a monumental moment for me because I was trying to figure out my identity when I was really young. And so I ended up just being cool with the fact that I wasn't in either of those groups. And now when I look back, my parents would tell me I was popular, I was cool, I was all these things. But my reality in that moment was I didn't fit in. And I made friends with all of the misfits. And that was my crew. And that's how I rolled. So I was very okay with going against the grain from the time I was a teenager. And so that definitely stuck with me as I got into college, as I dropped out of college, as I started businesses. I definitely am a go against the grain person. Don't take no for an answer person. And that's just a personality that I've become okay with. A lot of people think that those things aren't okay, but I think those are strengths.
Basically, you stand for what is right and you stand for what you believe.
10 toes.
How you think people position women in business in the past and right now? Like when you're growing up and now, do they have to really be tough or they have to just go with the flow and just say, okay, you're right. Okay, you're right. Because you are that kind of person. I know you stand up.
I think there's a time and place for everything, for sure. And I think it depends on what someone's objective is in business or in spaces. And I actually like to observe a lot. I'm actually, as I've gotten older, I've become quieter. I've become more chill. And it's only people like in business, if you only know me through a business lens, I'm very direct. I'm a straight shooter. I'm to the point. If you were to meet me personally, you would probably meet me in a different, I'm very actually pretty quiet these days, which is not at all. People are so surprised when they actually meet me on a personal level, because they're like, wow, you're so chill. And I am. I'm actually very, very chill. But with that, I am so okay with being underestimated. I'm okay with people not knowing fully what I bring to the table. I think one of the benefits about being a woman is that, and I think a lot of women do well with this, is that we don't really have issues with ego too much. Everybody has an ego. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. Everybody has an ego. But women are very good at controlling that.
Hiding it?
I mean, maybe, but it's like, is it necessary? You know what I mean? I'm okay with walking into a room and letting anybody think whatever it is that they want to think. But when it comes down to business, I know how to exercise my voice in a way that can navigate your ego and still get my point across. I think one of my superpowers I've learned is being able to work people to a certain spot without having to yell, crash out, scream, disrespect, because that's not productive. And I think being a good leader in business is really about molding to the people around you that you choose to surround yourself with and the talent you're choosing to leverage. My objective always is to let somebody operate in their strength. And so I don't ever let my ego get in the way of that happening. And I think that that's what makes working with me so fun. But I always want people around me to be their best selves. Like, I want to be the Kobe Bryant. I want to be, if you're in the game with me, you got to perform at top level. If not, you got to sit down, right? Go practice and we'll bring you back.
And if you don't have anybody that, perform, but you know that they have the qualification, they can be the A player, but you work with them, you coach them, you mentor them, how you get them to the place that you think they deserve to be there.
Yeah.
And I want to help them to get there.
I only work with people that want to make those improvements themselves.
If they want it.
If they want it. I don't force anybody to do anything that they don't want to do. If it's not in you, it's not in you. But if someone comes to me and I clearly see that they're trying to make something happen, one of the things I cannot stand is do not ask for my help. Don't ask me to mentor you or coach you, and then I got to pursue you or I have to chase you. That's not going to work. But if you are present and you're clearly showing that you want to make progress here, I love helping people. I wish I understood the power of relationships and mentorship sooner.
Me too.
Like my life would be drastically different if I understood that. And so I think for me now, it's just one of those things where if I can see that you're really trying to get it out the mud, you're really grinding hard, of course, I'm going to do everything I can to help you become better at what you're trying to do. And selflessly, I'm one of those people that I like to give without expectation. And I think that should be how everybody operates.
I wish.
I wish to. If you're giving, give without expectation. And not everybody is supposed to be with you forever. Not everybody, you don't teach people things just to benefit yourself. You teach people things and you work with people so that it can impact their life forever in its own way. And so that's like a whole different, I don't want to go down. If you want to go down that rabbit hole, we can go there. But yeah.
But, I'm not saying that you have two characters, but you have two different level of operations as far as the personal life and the business. While you work in a very dominant male businesses. And for a woman to stand up and actually sometimes direct, as you said, to tell them what to do, this is where we're going. Sometimes it's going to be tough. How you handle that, how you stand up and say, no, I think this is going to be happen, because where you at right now, you really earned a rank and you did something that got you there.
Yeah.
And all the listeners, viewers, they want to know how you did that. Yeah. Because is there any recipe? What do you have to do? What do you have to adjust or align? What is the secret? What is the secret sauce?
Gender, age, skill aside, you have to earn your stripes. 100%, but considering that you've done that, I think there was a time in my career and in my life where I felt like I had to fight for my voice to be heard. And I could be screaming at the top of my lungs, but it feels like, have you ever been in a dream where you're like underwater, you're yelling or you're running, but you're not going anywhere, you can't hear anything? It feels like that, quite literally. And so I think what I ended up learning later on, again, I wish I knew this sooner, is that alignment means everything. I might be the best at what I do. I might not be. I might have the answers for people, for clients, for whatever. I might not. But at the end of the day, the person I'm working with has to be willing to give me that space to operate in my gifting to benefit them. And if they're not willing to do that, then we're just not in alignment. So I'm at a place now, which is a wonderful place to be in, which is I only work with people that I want to work with. If I am not getting the good energy, if I'm not getting the vibes, if we're misaligned in any space, then that's just not a relationship or an engagement I'm willing to be in, so to speak, right? I want to be in working relationships with people that I'm aligned with and we have common goals, because then if it doesn't matter how we get there if we get there. And if that means I have to tell you what to do, or I have to instruct you, or you have to trust me and let me operate in my gift, then let's see some sort of result. But if it's like pulling teeth, if I've got a client or people that are unworkable and it's just pulling teeth, and I know what you need. We know what you need. I know what you hired me to do. Let's just say I'm your consultant. I consult for people, but you push back at me all of the time. No problem. It's your business. It's your world. We just aren't in alignment. So we're going to have to revisit this another time. So to answer that question, getting through those pain points, those nightmares where you're dreaming and you feel like nobody can hear you, it really just came down to working with people who wanted to hear me. And that also came with offering a solution, right? Selling a solution, fixing problems. I'm not an Elon Musk fan by any stretch, but there was a quote that he said, your income is directly correlated to the difficulty of problem you're able to solve. Wow. And I find that to be incredibly true.
You just mentioned that, I agree with what you just mentioned, but do you think before all of this, when I talk to you, I look at your eyes, you have a very high self-confidence. You know what the F you're talking about. I can feel that. Therefore, you build that trust. Don't you think that people, before even offering solution, or they have to believe themselves? Like, you got to believe yourself you're capable of doing it before you go talk to a person.
Yeah.
Especially in the male-dominated environment.
Yeah.
How did you come to that point that I said, I want people to hear my voice. Enough is enough. I want to say what I believe. I want to do what I believe. I want to work with the people that they deserve working with me. To get that point and get rid of the scarcity mindset, that's tough. Because I've been there. You need the money. You got to work with the people. You have that scarcity mind. Oh, if I don't get it, what's going to happen? But cutting that is tough. How you did that? I'm sure you did that.
I think that has so much to do with authenticity. So you're right. I don't know all things. And so for you to sit across from me and say, you know what you're talking about, you know your shit, girl. Yeah, now. But there was a point where I didn't know my shit. And that confidence had to come through. And I don't think that people are working with you only because you're promising a result or solving a problem. We know it. People work with people that they like, know, and trust. And so it's all of the things that aren't maybe specifically said. It's how you show up in the room. It's how you follow up. It's the integrity of your work product that when someone can trust when we run into a problem or something that we don't know or whatever, things that I don't know, that you're confident that I'm going to figure it out. And so there came a point where I'm like, hey, I don't know all the answers, but what I can promise you is I'm going to find out. And my confidence came from my network because I know if there's something that I don't know, I've got the right people in my back pocket that I can pick up the phone and call and figure some stuff out. And then I think a lot of times too, we kind of overestimate how much we need to know to be in business. If you compare yourself to who you see on the internet and who that imposter syndrome stuff, like that's a real thing. But I'm not trying to be like those people. I'm confident in myself and my abilities to figure things out and my commitment that I've made to you. That's about character. That's about integrity. That's not about this specific skill set that I know. And I think that that's why I win business, why I earn people's trust, because I'm here to be in relationship for a long time. I'm not trying to turn and burn. It costs me time, energy, money, and effort to replace clients. You know what I mean? I don't want to do that. So my relationships are more so built on trust than anything.
Basically, your net worth is your network.
100%. And you said something else too, like as you're figuring out your identity through these things. For me, it's a no-brainer. My identity is who I am in Christ. I believe that for me, what is for me is for me, and nobody's going to be able to take that away. And so I don't approach any situation anymore. And I did. It's hard when you're
not
getting
chasing.
started. Yeah, you can't chase. You literally can't, because you're gonna exhaust yourself chasing.
I've been there, done that.
Yeah, me too.
It's so exhausting. And you chase something that you said, is it even for me?
100%.
And you get to the point and say, no, it wasn't.
And it sucked. Like when you get to that moment, because the thing is you knew all along.
Why we do not believe it? Are we cheating ourselves, do you think?
I think it's the ebbs and flow of life, right? So I think people are really destination oriented. So, oh my gosh, if I accomplish this thing, if I set this goal and I get that done, then I'll be where I want to be. And then you get there and you're like, this doesn't even feel like I thought it would feel. When you look back, you're like, wow, I've just spent 5 years building X, Y, and Z, and I blink and it's over, and I enjoyed none of my life in that process. I don't want to be that person. I want to be that person who says, okay, it feels slow. Maybe it feels slow on the daily grind, but if I sit back and I look at the intentionality of my movement, I actually took the quickest, most direct path. But when you get so distracted and we're desperate for business and for clients and those things, that takes the joy out of what you're doing. Now, I don't want to get it twisted, because it can sound all like woo-woo and nebulous and great when you say it this way. But the reality is when you need to make money, you need to make money. And what do you do then? Well, the answer is you focus on revenue generating activities. That's what you do. People want to do all the other stuff that looks good and feels good and seems sexy.
Say that again. That's very important.
Focus on revenue generating activities.
You listen, folks, that's so important.
But it's the truth. It's the truth. You can't get paralyzed by all of the other things that you think matter. I was just in the Uber coming over here, and I'm talking to my sister on the phone, and she's young. She just graduated college last year. She's trying to figure out what she wants to do, and I set the bar kind of high. I hope she's not intimidated by it, but she's inspired by business. And we were just having a conversation, and it's like some great idea that she has, and I'm like, this is good. But you don't need to see the whole idea to fruition to make money. What's the minimum viable product that you can put together and drive revenue so that you can be okay to build the rest? And that was the basis of our conversation.
You are a very realistic person.
Like, oh man, I try to be. Am I? I don't know, because most people think I'm crazy. The way that I'm talking to you,
like you really sees it as like, is this real? I'm realistic. I know I'm going to fail, but I'm not going to cheat myself. And if you work hard, you achieve it. Don't chase it. Work hard. Have a system process. You're going to grow and understand who you're hanging around with. Mm-hmm. Like, I believe that if I don't add value to Kay and you don't add value to me, with all respect, and what is our relationship about? It's not only money. Mm-hmm. It's just sharing networks, helping one another, pick each other's brain to solve challenges, problems in our business, and collaborate. But having that mindset these days, because everybody's chasing money, it's not easy.
It's not. But that's what takes people from good to great, right? So I'm huge. Maybe this is a game I play with myself in my head, where I'm like always trying to widen the gap. So what, you can, for what you do here, this place is incredible. This is beautiful.
Thank you.
Your work, I'm honored to be here.
Thank you.
But you can tell that you take pride in what you do.
Absolutely.
And you've been around, you've seen some things, and it took you a while to get to this point. But most people who want to be in business aren't willing to go through that. They don't want to go through the trenches. They just want to get to the end result. And the difference maker between me and you and whoever else is looking at us, or people think that my life and my career is whatever it is, whatever people think, they see that, but they don't know that it took me 10 years to get here. Like, you see my life, but you don't want my problems. Trust me, you don't want my problems.
And people don't see that.
And people don't see it because it's not for you to see, right? It's not for you to see. Now, I'm happy to peel back the curtain and help anybody that I can. But the reality is if you want to be an entrepreneur, you need to be okay with waking up every single day, willing to embrace whatever that feeling is. Because some days I wake up and I'm like, yeah, we're rocking. I got direction. Everything is good. Some days I wake up and I'm like, why am I doing this? Who even said this was a good idea? Like, I have to reconvince myself sometimes. But then I get into my business. I open those emails. I get on my meetings and I see the impact of what we're doing around me. And it's like, okay, you can't quit now. So if you want to be an entrepreneur, you need to be willing to wake up every day and throw spaghetti at the wall until something sticks.
Amen.
And then you realize it's not going to stick forever. It's going to work right now. We're going to milk this moment that it's working right now. But then at some point, it's going to fall. And then I got to pick up the spaghetti and throw it again. And that's legitimately what being an entrepreneur feels like. But that's why I like it, because I'm a creative at heart. And I like to solve problems. And so for me, that's actually like exciting. And so as I was saying, the game that I play with myself is like widening that gap, because the more I stick at it, the quicker I fail, the more I find the problems, the quicker I fix them, then I can move to the next thing. And that puts me, another step ahead. Most people aren't willing to go through that, and because it's hard and it's crazy. And entrepreneurs are crazy. Okay. And that's okay. Live in that craziness, embrace that, and be around other crazy people that tell you that you can do this, because those are the people that make it happen at the end of the day.
And it is so important, yet, as you said, not only to believe it, but to be around the people that they go through the same thing. Like, I'm with you. Like 2 days ago, I woke up and I said, why do this? And then 5 minutes later, I got a text and he said, let's talk. Let's have a meeting. It was a big project. I said, holy shit, that's actually going through. And I got motivated again. And I said, why this is happening? You go like a roller coaster. You go up and down, up and down. Yeah. And it's not for everybody.
No.
That's what a lot of people, I think, I don't know if you agree or not, but they give up.
They do. Because it's not for everybody. And that's okay. Again, there's different levels to this, right? So people need to determine, what am I trying to get out of this? Do I want to be an entrepreneur? What do I want to do in this business space? Am I here to do a deal here and there, supplement my income? Am I here to build an empire, or somewhere in between? What's your objective here and how do you accomplish that? Because it's not for everybody, and that's okay. However, hustle does need to be a part of everybody, because I don't know what is going on in the world right now. Politically, things are crazy. Economically, things are crazy. Real estate wise, things are crazy. On the internet, things are crazy.
Very, very crazy.
It's a hard time to navigate, and things are uncertain. So I would encourage everybody to figure out something that they can do to have a backup plan, or to fall back on, or have some investments or something, because we don't know. It's day to day, not only for entrepreneurs, but everybody living in America.
Because
right
some
now.
people, they said, okay, I'm not going to do this. I want to go work for the corporate. You taste the corporate. We don't want to name it. I know. You taste the corporate.
I did.
Why you not match for the corporate?
Okay. Well, my mom used to tell this to me when I was a teenager, and I didn't get it. I get it now. I just turned 35.
We don't look like.
I get that a lot. I receive that fully. I receive that fully.
Cut that part.
I receive that fully. But my mom, when I was a teenager, she would tell me, like, you just don't do well with authority. And I think I was just too smart for my own good sometimes. And I just cannot take direction from dumb people. It irks me to my core.
How it made you feel?
It made me feel, it was humbling, and it was an experience that I needed, because not everybody is the smartest. Everybody has a role to play. And regardless if I'm smarter or not, there was something for me to learn from them or from that experience. So it humbled me a lot after I got through the fighting. Right. Well, the resistance. I was very resistant as a teenager, especially when I moved to California. Mom, I'm so sorry. I know karma is going to bite me in the butt if I ever have a daughter. But we've worked it out. We're good. We're solid. Mom's my best friend. We're fine. But she had a hard time with me at that point in my life. I was very resistant, kind of rebellious, not misbehaving, but to your point, just really standing up for what I felt was right. And so sometimes that wasn't always called for. And so I had to learn, like, okay, it doesn't matter how advanced I think my thinking is. I'm always a student. And that's why I feel like I learn so much and so quickly. I'm always trying to learn. Learning is my favorite thing to do. And I think that that's why as an entrepreneur, I'm nimble and I'm able to pivot if and when those opportunities, or even not even opportunities, when it's necessary and essential to survive, you have to be able to pivot quickly. And the only way you can do that is if you open up your mind to learning new things. And I love learning new things.
Especially with the rise of AI, right now everything is changing.
Yeah.
Everybody thinking that, oh, we're going to lose our jobs. But I think it's another tool that you have to learn, going back to learning. Like my show is a platform for me, educational platform. I learn by interviewing you. Right now I get 45 minutes of free coaching. I'm serious. I learn every day from the people that come here and I talk to them. But some people, they are in the corporate. They know the manager doesn't know as much as she knows. They have to take it. How they can pivot, what they have to do.
So what I would encourage everyone to do, corporate not, is to focus on building your own brand. So if you've got a manager or higher up who you feel is not like supporting you fully or doesn't see your talent fully or give you the runway to be your best, which I think is a huge problem with managers and leadership. Leadership needs to be trained too, because your whole entire objective is to serve your team. Leadership is about serving. And so I'd say if you're in a position like that, you focus on creating your own brand, because that's going to go with you, whether you report to that person or you report to another person or you go to another company. And you build that brand by being a solid individual, showing up well in all spaces and making connections. I think that was my biggest takeaway from big corporate, and I'm talking big corporate, is that I was not scared to walk up and say, hi, I'm Kelani Blackwell. I'm new here. I'm trying to get a lay of the land. There aren't very many women, young women, let alone women of color. Can I get some time on your calendar just to talk and get some advice about how to navigate? And most people don't even expect that question. And every time, 10 out of 10 times, I was told yes. And so I'd show up and I would be a student, just like we're being right now. I would ask questions. I would explain, I think, what I'm trying to do. Is that a good plan? What do you recommend?
You weren't afraid of rejection?
For what? My life's going to keep going.
There's a lot of people, they really have a fear of rejection.
I understand.
You didn't have that feeling?
No.
And if somebody rejected you, what would you do?
Okay, thanks. My life keeps going. That's what people,
That's a very unique mindset.
I get it. I don't want to say I don't understand. I understand how rejection can be crippling, but that's just, it's a muscle, right? I think people think that these are personality traits, like, I just don't like rejection. Well, you just don't like rejection because you haven't gotten, what's the opposite of rejection?
Is satisfaction,
right? You haven't gotten the satisfaction from your efforts, right? Because again, entrepreneurship is all about, it's all about every day is rejection. Did I get that client? No, reject. Did we set up the software? No, reject. Did we hire the new person? No, reject. But you have to keep pressing. So it's a muscle. It's a muscle. And once you learn that muscle tends to get stronger, you actually get rejected less because you get better at what you do. And so that elevator pitch, those quick moments where you can interact with people to grow that network, that's monumental. And do not be a slouch when it comes to networking. If you meet somebody and you say you're going to set up a time or you're going to follow up or you're going to meet them, do it. Because the second that you take too long or months and years and time goes by, they're going to remember, oh, you said we were supposed to connect. You said we were going to do that and you didn't keep your word. That looks like you didn't keep your word,
Networking has changed too. Right now, most of the networking you go, they say, hey, Kay, this is my business card. What would you do? They don't even know you. And I am always fascinated with how these people, they operate before even, I don't even know you. You give me a business card. The first thing they ask, what do you do?
Yeah.
What is your feedback on? You go to networking events, I know. I call it the connecting events.
Man, so I am really big with leading with value. So I think what's really cool about networking is that I have a ton of connections that I haven't even asked anything for yet.
Why not?
Because I've been waiting to make it a really good ask. I think you got a social piggy bank with everybody, right? And you make deposits because when it's time to make a withdrawal, you need to make sure that there's something there to withdraw. And so for me, making connections is all about leading with value, not just making an ask. And so if that means my first touch point with you or connection is just meeting you, then that's what we do. Then we connect. Now I'm in your atmosphere, your ecosystem. I'm evaluating. Is Rami somebody I want to learn from and connect with? Is there synergy there? I don't just hit the ground running being like, oh, hey, nice to meet you. You've got all this stuff. What can you do for me? Nothing. Bye. When you're connecting with people.
Love that.
Relationships, like it's about a relationship. It's not transactional. And I think too many people look at relationships like transactions versus saying, how can I be of service? How can I add value? Our mutual friend, Xavier Norton.
Yes.
That's how he came into my life, looking to just add value. And then after a couple of weeks and after a couple of events, and I'm like, man, he's consistent. He's here a lot.
Consistent and persistent.
Man,
Dear Lord, help me out.
Exactly. And I'm like, wow, I can work with that. That's somebody I want to help. That's somebody I think that can help me. How do we further that relationship? How do we find synergy there? And then now that there's some deposits that have been made, I'm like, okay, let's do something. Those are the relationships. So when we talk about alignment, from the very first thing we talked about, that's what I'm looking for. Not just a very simple solution and transactional thing, which there will be some of those, right? We need vendors, we need contractors, we need hire. Cool. But I'm talking about your core team, the people around you that make you not feel crazy when you wake up and want to quit and encourage you to keep going. And the people that you trust, man, all about leading with value.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. A lot of people, they don't understand the value of relationships. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not always to ask, what can you do for me? How can I be there for you?
Yeah.
Do you need anything? And I was talking to a friend, and he said, how you keep up with all your people that you know? I said, every day of takes like 10 people, 10 seconds for each. That's going to be close to the minute. I have a minute or two. Steve, how you doing? I was thinking about you. I hope you're doing okay. Is there anything you need? I'm always here.
Yeah.
Just one phone call away, one text away.
Aww.
Thank you. I always do that at deposit that you said. But people don't understand that. They think that I need Kelani right now. I'm going to call her. But why you have to call Kelani when you need something? Why you don't text her and say, how you doing, my friend? I'm thinking about you. You're doing amazing. Keep going. I saw you. You need anything, I'm here. Mm-hmm. You have to just do the table touch. In the restaurant industry, they say table touch. You got to touch the tables.
Yeah.
And you got to do that. And you build that. And then one day, if you need something, you're not shy. You're going to say, hey, by the way, I need you to do me a favor. It's much
And maybe
easier.
You won't need something.
That person needs it.
But at the end of the day, it's like now there's this familiarity. Now we have a relationship. And so if and when the time comes where either one of us needs something, I'm 100 times more likely to go out of my way for you because you've been there. You've been solid. You've checked in. You care about my life. You care about my businesses. You care about what's going on in my world. Okay, then I'm way more inclined to help you versus, well, I haven't heard from you in 3 years and now you're asking me for something. I mean, that happens to me all the time. I can't tell you how many text messages. I'll tell you right now, I've got 846 unopened text messages.
One thing about you, I'm going to say that a lot of people don't know. You're very well connected in your industry, your circle. You're not showing it. You really, if somebody doesn't know you, they don't know who Kelani is, what Kelani can do. Do you do that purposely?
No, I don't do it on purpose. I think it would be weird if I tried to make it known that I'm so well connected. I think that's weird. I think that's weird behavior. I don't name dropping.
A lot of people, they go out there and say, oh, I do this, I know that. You don't do that.
Yeah, no. Because, I think the way people talk about you when you're not around. Now, again, my mom taught me very young, people's opinions of me is none of my business. What you think of me is none of my business. And I wouldn't even waste any energy thinking that. But I definitely make it's just a part of who I am to be the same in every room I'm in. Like if my mom were sitting right here, I would be talking the same way. If my sister if my colleagues, my business partners, my W.I.R.E members were right, I'd be talking the same exact way. You don't ever have to guess what you get with me. And so when I leave this room, I can trust that there's nothing that anybody has to assume. And I don't have to talk about my connections, right? They speak for themselves. And when there have been plenty of times where it's like, oh my gosh, I was at this event and I know, I've seen you out with this person. I brought your name up, and if you want to know about the connection, go ask that person. You don't have to ask me. Go ask them about their experience with me or working with me or my company or whatever the case might be. And that's enough to speak for itself.
Some people, they think perception is everything, the way they present themselves, which is, I understand sometimes, but they become somebody who they are not. Mm-hmm. I see that quite often. They're not that person, but their social media, how they present themselves, how they think, they really think they're, but they're not. Yeah. Why you think those people, is it low self-confidence? Is it like a...
Oh, man. I think probably just the pressures of the world, right? I think most people genuinely are amazing people. I think most people have really great hearts. I think we are just in a society where there's a huge air of comparison. And because people consume content in these mini bite-sized pieces, there's this perception that things are great all of the time, right? We don't get to see the pitfalls. Like, this is cool. We're on camera right now. We're able to talk and have this conversation. You weren't with me this morning when I had 4 back-to-back calls. I'm stressing to get out the door. I'm, trying to get things, the unsexy parts of what we do. And again, people don't see that. And so when they experience that, they think something's wrong and that I have to present like everything is great. That's not the reality. I don't look for, that perception. It might get you in the door, but who are you when...
And your true self will come up.
Yeah, when things go the other direction. What are you made of when things go the other direction? That's what I want to know. And most people, if you're only operating off of perception, or you're comparing, or you have this imposter syndrome and you're showing up inauthentically, that gets exposed very, very quickly when you're faced with adversity. And then you really look like a goof because you were trying to be somebody you're not. You can't actually fulfill or show up. And avoid that, right? Be authentic from the beginning so people know who they're working with.
I think it was during the COVID, you started Women in Real Estate. Is that right? And you became very popular in the Clubhouse. Mm-hmm. How you start Women in Real Estate, that's what you do, plus the other stuff, consulting and the strategy. How did you start the Woman? What was the reason?
Oh, man, it was an accident.
Are you serious?
I'm not even kidding. I am not even kidding. If you would have told me 4 or 5 years ago that this would be my life today, I would have laughed at you wholeheartedly. I wouldn't have, not that I, didn't know that being an entrepreneur was on the horizon for me. We've established, got problems with authority, very bullish. I was meant for entrepreneurship. Didn't really know that then because I didn't
Tough cookie.
Yeah, super. And I didn't come from that environment. Both of my parents really preached education, and so going against that grain was like, I was navigating uncharted territory as far as I'm concerned. I didn't know any entrepreneurs, none of those things. So I would say when W.I.R.E came about, I went viral on accident on an app called Clubhouse. And it's a social audio app, right? Chat rooms for
I remember that.
A bunch of different things. Now, at the time, I'm a commercial broker, a big box commercial broker, a young woman of color in a very white male dominated industry. And I got invited to the platform, and I was super excited because I found other people of color in real estate, in commercial real estate. I'm like, wow, this exists. This is so cool. But again, introvert, quiet, chill, right? I didn't say anything. I listened. And after about only 2 weeks or so, I heard a young lady on that app getting just such terrible real estate advice, like horrible. It compromised her safety. Yeah, someone told this woman to go door knocking in a gated Florida high-end neighborhood. And she's a woman of color. You don't do that. Trespassing, super conservative state, gun laws are different there. You know what I mean? You don't tell a mother to go do that. There's so many other things that you could do. And I just couldn't sit there silent. The stage was, it was a panel of like 5 or 6 men. And I'm like, there's no way that this lady can leave this conversation thinking that that's what she should do. So I raised my hand. I offered to contribute to that conversation, did, and then ended up going viral after that.
What was the advice?
Not to do that. Be careful who you learn from, right? Great question. I even remember I don't want to put her on blast. I know the exact woman. I know her name. And she followed me on social media. She was the first person I spoke to on this app. She followed me and we had kept in touch for years after that. I hope she's doing well. I haven't talked to her probably 6 or 7 months, but I remember this young lady and I said, hey, be careful who you learn from and who you ask questions to. I said, do not go door knock in that neighborhood. There's technology. There are things you can do from a distance. There's, to your point, AI, calling, like there's so many other ways. Do not compromise your safety that way. We don't know what could happen.
And this was not a private, it was in a public, like a clubhouse chat.
Yeah.
That everybody could see or read or listen.
Yeah, everybody was listening. And I think I got like that same day, I got like 2,000 followers or something. But I actually then, I have a resume. And I didn't think anybody cared to hear what I had to say. I'm still working on my stuff. I'm a commercial real estate broker. I'm out here trying to get it. I don't think anybody cares what I have to say. My social media was private at the time. My Instagram, private, everything. So I'm not thinking anybody cares about any of this stuff. But then I got asked to join more conversations. Hey, that was good perspective. Can you join this conversation? Can you be a part of it? So over the subsequent weeks, I met my now business partner, Brittany, on that platform. And we were the only 2 women really contributing to conversations at that point. I don't know. The algorithm gods loved me. God made all of this happen. I give all the glory to God for this. But we had to create spaces just for women. So we created the club, Women in Real Estate. And in less than a year, it got about 70,000 members on.
That was fast.
Dude, what? I was like, what do I even do with this? And at the time, what was so crazy was that there were other like internet gurus that were on Clubhouse, right? And they already had followings and audiences. So I'm on stage with these people. I had known of a couple internet gurus, like really big marketers, but there were these smaller marketers and gurus that were like selling courses and programs and just taking people's money who were sitting around during COVID. And that just didn't sit right in my spirit. I'm like, I am not an internet guru. I don't want to take advantage of anybody at this time. Like, especially at this time when the world, like, we're going through a global pandemic. That would be nuts. And so Brittany said, well, what do you want to do? Because we have this audience. And I said, I don't know. We have to think about it. And during that time, I kid you not, so many of those women reached out to me. Can you mentor me? Can you coach me? I'll pay you. And I'm sitting there like turning down literal money. Because I'm like, I got a job. This is fun, but I got real work I got to do. And so after a few months, I'm like, okay, well, how do we actually help more people? So we took our audience offline and we created the first community before it became cool. People say they have communities now. I think me,
it wasn't
W.I.R.E and one other, maybe 2 others. So maybe 3 actual real estate communities that are worth a damn. That you actually get a sense of community, right? You're not just told like, hell, here's a group me, here's a Slack channel, community. That's not what community is. So we were like one of the first communities I think created. We turned 4 in January of this year. And so that's how we don't charge high ticket. We're not charging thousands and thousands of dollars. We charge like a gym membership. So you have a subscription to our platform. You get access to all of our resources, our live calls, our recorded training, and chapters. We have 10 local chapters across the country now. And so you get hyper local support if you're in one of those areas. And we really pride ourselves on building a sense of community. So the business component, I know we've been talking a lot about business, is that creating a sense of community has been one of the most challenging things to do in a virtual environment, but we figured it out. And so that's kind of what catapulted my
It's very difficult,
business.
like really to create a community in the virtual world, as you said, and to keep them intact. It really needs a lot of work.
Yeah.
And people don't understand how much work is involved. But except what services you offer, mentorship and...
Yeah, so, oh my gosh, we offer a lot. There's a ton of value there. I could talk to you for an hour explaining all of the things. But
highlights.
The long and the short would be... we're truly a support system. So the networking part of things, you get access to our proprietary portal where you get to network with women that all across the country that do all things in the business. I did not want to limit us to just realtors or just commercial folks. We have everything because I believe in a holistic approach to real estate. Every deal, every client, every relationship has unique needs. So the tools in your tool belt need to address those unique needs. So we're not just selling a skill or training on one thing. We're saying, okay, hey, we have women that do everything in the business. You need exposure to what's possible because you don't want to leave money on the table. And we need to share and learn from our collective experiences so we can shorten everyone's learning curve and rise together. So not only do you get those connections, but we have niche specific training. We bring in experts to teach on a regular basis. We do master classes. And we're talking about real business development stuff, not just licensing education, not just official broker alert attorney
hold their
things.
hands.
We're doing business development together. So as you navigate this business and you encounter things in the world and you run into challenges, you bring those back to here. And I'm going to align you, do our best as a group to mastermind around you, solve your problems, point you in the right direction, get you the education that you need and the connection that you need to cross that hurdle and get going.
Roadmap.
Exactly.
You give them a roadmap.
100%. And we pick you up, we dust you off, we tell you you're not crazy, you got this, and we send you back into the world. I wish I had that. Nobody taught me how to navigate this business getting started. Nobody taught me.
I never heard that such a thing, really, because if one of those people come and say, hey, Kelani, I just want to give up, I'm sure you ask why. Mm-hmm. And then you get them back on track?
Absolutely. And so sometimes the conversations are, hey, I want to quit. Well, then it's like, well, why? Let's see. Where's your business plan? Have you been doing what you said you were going to do? Because we also do a lot of accountability. So in W.I.R.E, we're not just talking about real estate. We're talking about mindset. We're talking about accountability. We do office hours. We do special, like niche specific trainings. We bring in experts. We do all those things. So if you were to come to me and say, hey, I want to quit, I'm like, well, let's inspect the business. Why do you want to quit? And most times, 9 out of 10 times, it's a them problem, right? So let's confront you. And then sometimes people come and they're like, oh my gosh, I am in a development project. My architect screwed something up. What do I do now? Okay, well, let's get all of our developers on the call. Let's see who's got an answer for you. Here's this connection, here's this connection, here's this connection. I'm going to put us in a group chat, send those plans, send your problem, and let's mastermind around you to figure out how to get you over this specific hurdle, right? It could be any of those things.
And then you can work with the individual. Let's call it one-man show, or you can work with the 4 partners that have a business.
100%. And a lot of our members come to us as individuals and end up finding partners and mentors and relationships inside the community. Yeah.
And what is the cost of the community? Like, you have different levels?
No. We have one level. There are no velvet ropes inside of W.I.R.E. It's one cost, and the only thing that costs additional is going to be like our retreats, like when we go out of the country and stuff, right?
You give so much value.
We do. We do. And people tell us we could charge more. The cost is $179 per month.
Are you serious?
That's it.
We pay for some of those, like a simple software for that much.
I know.
The value is more than the price.
Oh yeah. Because that's what God told me to do. I'm good with that because it's a price that makes it accessible, because we know that
serve more people.
The barrier to entry in real estate is so high, and everything in real estate costs so much that it wasn't my goal to create a higher barrier to entry. It was my goal to create support, right? And community. And so at that price point, we're able to sustain a healthy environment to support folks. Now, I would rather you spend your money, instead of giving me $20,000 to coach you and mentor you. Am I worth it? 100%. But I would rather you spend that money advancing your progress on a project or an investment to create a return on investment. So now I've bought your loyalty. And now I know that we're going to be in relationship for a long time. We talked about adding value,
yes.
Right? That translates into my business model.
Basically, indirectly, you are their partners.
I guess you could say that in certain ways. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, help them to grow and shine and scale.
Yeah.
And then when they scale and growing, you winning.
But it's authentic. That's what we want. Their success is my success. Because as they grow and they elevate and get into bigger deals, bigger partnerships, you know who gets to hear about that? We do. You know who gets introduced to that connection? We do. That's
it's a ripple effect.
100%.
Yeah, you create a ripple.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of women, they want to go into the business. some of them, they're listening or watching, they say, sounds good. I want to be an entrepreneur. Again, we're going to talk about that. What they have to do. What is the first step you think they should do? Evaluate themselves, what they believe, what they want to do this, or just hit the ground and running, or have ideas, but ideas with no action just are ideas.
You're right. Ideas with no action are just ideas. I think the first thing somebody needs to do is reflect and find out and understand what your purpose is. I wish I would have started business that way, because not everybody gets a lightning in the bottle moment the way that I did with Clubhouse and stuff. Again, if you would have asked me 5 years ago if this is what I'd be doing, I'd have laughed. But I'm also the most fulfilled now than I've ever been. But that's because I'm operating in my purpose, and God made room for my gift. So I would ask somebody, before you get into business or want to do anything, what is your purpose? Why do you exist? Who are you here to help? And it's not your children, right? Your children are going to benefit from you operating in your purpose. I know that's a little controversial, especially the parents who make their whole life about their kids. It's such an admirable thing, but your kids are going to grow up. They're going to leave the nest. Who are you when that happens? We see it in W.I.R.E all of the time. And so what is your purpose? Who are you here to serve? And then how do we create a solution around that purpose so that your every day when you wake up, you're motivated and fulfilled by operating in that purpose versus going to a job, creating another job. I became an entrepreneur to create a job for myself that I hate. Nobody wants to be in that position. Like, don't even do that to yourself. Figure out that purpose. Then we create solutions around who those people are that you're serving in that purpose, and that becomes your business.
Man, deep inside, I'm getting very emotional because, as you said, truthfully, I never had anybody tell me all this stuff when I was going through my business. I have been rejected, bankrupt, lost, divorced, everything you name, I went through it. But if people right now, they're listening, watching, they really, from bottom of my heart, if they understand what you're saying, that's golden. Like, we didn't have this. Everything changed. We have all the resources around us. Resourcefulness. That's the problem with us. But like, you are a person that can reach out to you and you said, okay, come here and we're going to help you. I didn't have that.
Yeah.
You didn't have that. I learned everything by myself, but I'm still grateful that I'm here and listening to you and I'm learning. What are you grateful for?
Oh my gosh. I am grateful for, you're going to make me emotional too. Oh my gosh. I'm grateful for having had the room to find out and discover what my gift is. I'm grateful for that because everybody has that. God made each of us uniquely. And I know that He designed every bad experience in my life let's back that up. I know that God designed my life and me intentionally so that as I navigated this world and I experienced the things that I've experienced, and both at my own fault and not, right? He allowed me to get to a point to discover what my gift is. And because I'm able to live in that gift every single day and work in that every single day, I am the happiest I've ever been. And I hope everyone gets to feel that feeling. Everybody deserves that feeling.
You are going to shine. Like, you're going to help so many people along the way. I know that. I can feel it. I'm really into energy of people. I get that energy right now. It's weird because it's true. Mm-hmm. You went through all that. Now you're helping all the people with value, with no expectation. It's just amazing. I wish we had more people like you.
Well, I have to correct you because you're saying I'm doing these things, but the actual answer is that we are doing these things. Yeah. We are, because I believe that legacy, it far exceeds whatever brick and mortar, whatever trust fund, whatever money people leave behind. I think legacy lives in like these moments that people are impacted Because if we can walk away from this conversation and apply one thing that we learned, it could change the trajectory of our lives. And I'm learning here too. I'm looking at you and I'm grateful for this experience. So thank you.
Amen. Yeah. Last question.
Okay.
Do you have any regrets? You can be vulnerable. I had some, but I got over it.
Yeah. I'd say I definitely got over a lot of things because I definitely feel like everything happens for a reason. So I don't know if the regret is the right word per se, but if I could say if there's anything that I adopted from my way of thinking earlier is as a young woman to understand and know your value in every room that you sit in. Women could run the world if they chose to. And so whether that be in relationship, personally, professionally, wherever you are, you understand your value and you don't compromise that value for anybody, because the longer you uphold that value, the more you realize that the people that are around you will align to that value. If you compromise that value, you can get stuck in a place where you were never meant to be. So to all of my women, my young ladies, it sounds cliche, but know your worth and stand on it.
So powerful. Do you want to tell anything to anybody who's listening or watching? That's your camera.
Yeah. You know, I, for the first time this year, found someone on the internet that looked like me, that I could look up to from a business perspective. And if you can't see it, you might not know that you can be it. But just know there are people out there that exist that would be willing to help you, that would be willing to teach you and support you. And if you're not getting that support directly in your home or in that relationship, go find it. You need to be a part of a community, whether it's my community or any other community. You need to be a part of a community. You're going to find that what you're looking for does exist. So do not settle for less. Find your tribe, and you're going to be just fine.
Amen. Amen. Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it.
You made me emotional. Wow.
Oh my God.
Can I ask you a question before we go?
Sure.
What's your biggest lesson? What's your biggest takeaway through all of this? Everything that you've experienced?
My biggest takeaway is this, that the moment you raise your standards and believe who you are, everything is going to change. The reason that we're not getting where we want to go, number one, we don't understand our value, as you said, and we don't know who we are, because most of us, we know what we do, how we do it, but we don't know why we do it. If you just look at your heart, listen to your gut, and just believe who you are and why you were born to do what you were born. I was born to help people, serve people with no expectation like you, and I'm helping one person a day since I put my foot into this country. Every day before midnight, I help one person. It doesn't matter what it is. Helping with grocery bags at the local grocery store, making a phone call, doing an introduction. It doesn't matter. I got to do it. Every day, one person.
Yeah.
Help one person a day. That's my mission, and I'm doing it. And all this show is all about learning and educating people, because I did not have that.
Yeah.
I did not have it.
I get it.
And I want all the people to have it, because you go much faster.
Yeah.
We have to experience everything by ourselves. I didn't have anybody sit here and talk to you and look at her eyes and say, oh yeah, you suffered the same, or you went through the same. People don't get that everything is around them. But the opportunities is all around us. But you got to look, you got to knock the door. And then they're not going to build a door for you. You got to go find it. But as a human, we want everything right now. We don't want to work for it.
Yeah. Have you noticed that?
Oh yeah.
That's the thing. It's everybody wants overnight success.
Oh yeah. It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. It takes time. Raise your standards. I love that. Raise your standards.
Raise your standards. That's what I tell everybody. Do you want to get somebody? Raise your standards. The moment you said, no, I'm worth more. I value myself for what I know. I have an accent? Fuck yeah. I speak 5 languages. I have an accent, but I can't get rid of it. It's me.
It's you.
It's got to be me.
Yeah.
And then I'm not going to go change myself, get an accent coach to be an American. It's just me.
Yeah.
But that cannot stop me for what I believe I was born to do.
Yeah.
I was born to help, to give, and building an environment that can help so many people, business, environment, whatever it is, community. That's what we were born to do. We're not here to just make a buck, cheat everybody, raise the price. Hey, you need this strategy. Okay, this is $2,000. Pay me and done. I can't do that. I cannot sleep.
Yeah.
I had a client and he said, "Oh, my budget is 10 grand." I said, "We don't need that. We need 3." And he said, "What?" I said, "Yeah, that doesn't cost 10." He said, "Most of the people, they told me it's between 10." I said, "I don't know who told you, but can you put this 7K into whatever stuff that you want to do?" And he was shocked.
That doesn't sit well in your spirit.
I can't.
Yeah.
I really get choked.
Yeah.
I can't do it. And some people, they said, "How could you not do? Just take the money." I said, "Well, how could you live with yourself? How could you live with yourself?" We had a client, he came here yesterday, local plumbing company. Somebody charged him $17,000 for his website.
Oh my God.
And he doesn't even know where the domain is.
Oh my gosh.
And he was here. I was so mad that I got with him. And I said, "Give me that company." I called him. He signed the NDA. I said, "Now we are representing this person. I want everything transferred to we built." And I said, "Dude, this is on me. Just go." And he came back. He said, "I want to work with you." I said, "Okay, let's talk about it. But you got to get your stuff.
Yeah.
You're not a hostage of anybody."
That's crazy. That predatory crap, that's, that's not
God.
okay. But you know what? That says a lot. As you're talking, what it's making me think, and you say raise your standard, but value, things have the value that we give it. You think of like cryptocurrency. It's some figment of, it's not even a tangible thing, but it's got value, right? Because it's got the value that we give it. But people value things differently. People value money over integrity. People value things over what's actually valuable. And so when we talk about alignment, we want to be in alignment with people who value the same things.
I can't work. If you put price on me, I can't work with you.
Oh yeah. Because the truth is that if we put a price on you, nobody could afford you. Nobody can. People don't want to know what my people want to work with me all the time. And then I tell you my price, you want to work with me that way? You can't even really afford me.
Yes, I'm
so
like
the only way I'm working with you is if I want to.
Me too, exactly. And it took me quite long to get to that point.
Yeah.
Because I didn't believe myself and I didn't raise my standard. I was operating in this scarcity mindset.
Yeah.
It was very tough for me to get out of it. But I got out of it. I learned how to say no. And
that's big.
And I accepted it. I said, if I say no, I can say yes to somebody that really needs me.
Yeah.
But I got to say no. I clean up my circle every 6 months. My circle of my network.
Yeah.
I really clean it up like a house.
That's
I go,
good.
okay, no. And I just clean it up. And I tell them. And I said, I really like you, but we are not aligned. Like you say, alignment, I'm all about that. If I'm aligned with you and understand your value, you're sitting here, you give me your precious time to talk. I say, oh my God, this is valuable to me. And then I give you back.
Yeah.
But if, some people, they're going to put price. It's just weird.
It's
weird.
We
can't operate like that. And we can't change ourselves.
And the unfortunate part is that it does exist in the world. And that's why we have to have discernment. We need to be able to discern who's for us, who's not for us, and be okay with trusting that discernment, right? Trusting yourself, because discernment is key. If you can get a good gauge which is why having a purpose is so important. Not all money is good money. Not all opportunities are good opportunities. Not all relationships are good relationships. And sometimes, the word says that the devil appears as an angel of light, a wolf in sheep's clothing. And if you cannot discern who is for you and who isn't, not all good things are God either. So something that might appear to be good, you have to be able to discern and inspect. And if you're not set up on a strong foundation, if you don't know your purpose, if you don't know your why,
you're lost.
Yeah, you can't.
You're really lost.
Right. Somebody could say, "Oh, I got $1 billion for you right now," and I might that $1 billion, oh my gosh. But if you're not in alignment with what the purpose and the calling is on my life, then I know that that's a distraction. And it can be tough to walk away.
And sometimes the bad things are not bad. It's just the life lessons.
100%.
I swear to God, sometimes bad things happen to me. I said, God, are you showing me this to understand that? And it was true. God put me to some bad stuff that it reminds me that, hey, I'm up here watching you.
Yeah.
But you got to go through that, dude. You got to go feel the pain.
Yes.
That's what you said. Entrepreneurship is painful. You really get the pain. I was so close so many times to throw the towel and say, I am done.
Yeah.
I want to go get a corporate job. And I went so close. I can't do that. I can't. I'm lost.
Yeah.
But I came back to my own thing and I said, hey, you can do it, dude. You can do it. Just believe it. God is watching you guys. And then, having faith for me is so important. You got to have a faith. You got to have the God is God plan for you. Yeah. The reason that Kelani is sitting here, we are talking, there is a reason. I don't know what it is. I cannot explain it. But beside the work, I don't know what future holds.
Yeah.
I don't know what we're going to do together. I really, but the God plays these things in his own way and makes things happen, good or bad. If it's bad, you learn something. If it's good, praise the Lord.
Yeah.
That's it.
I've got an idea. I got a couple of ideas for us, actually. I'm sure we could cook something up great.
I'm serious, but again, really enjoy my conversation. You came all the way down here. I really appreciate it.
Oh,
it means a lot.
The pleasure is mine. I appreciate it too. And thank you for adding value to me as well.
The same
I'm
here.
So grateful.
The same here. Until next time.
We got to do this again.
Yeah, we do it.
100%.
We get an update.
Anytime, anything for you.
Thank you.